right. Well, finished off the season strong with a big win against Cleveland. I am Matt Minich for Bengals Chalk Talk here on Orange and Black Insider. Thank you for being with me today. So today we are going to focus on the two Joes. That's Joe Mixon, of course, and the presumably soon-to-be Bengal, Joe Burrow. So looking forward to what we're going to see out of those guys in the future. First we're going to take a look at what Burrow did this weekend against Cleveland. And then for the audio version, if you download the podcast rather than just watching it on YouTube, I will be talking to Chrissy Freud, who covers LSU for LSU Tigers Wire. So gonna get into both Joes a little bit. But first, we're going to start off and we're going to take a look at the film and some of Joe Mixon's top plays from this weekend. And great performance for Mixon. 26 carries. 26 yards would not be very good. 26 carries for 162 yards and 2 touchdowns all in the day. That is a career day for Mixon. Finishing off strong after the first time the Bengals played the Browns a few weeks ago. He had a career day as well, and even better numbers this past weekend. So great day for Mixon. After struggling early in the year, the run game in general, not really putting it all on Mixon, but the run game struggling in the first part of the year. Over the last 8 weeks, Mixon has been one of the top rushers in the league. Over the last 8 weeks of the season, I believe he ranks second only behind Derrick Henry, who, of course, won the rushing title for the NFL. So Mixon coming on. Mixon's back. I think around the trade deadline, we weren't feeling great about him. And thinking there might be some movement there for that reason. But he's back in business, and he's what we all thought he was. So taking a look at some of these plays, first of all, starting off in the first quarter, and a great run by Mixon, 41-yard run that set up a touchdown pass a play later. And the guy that gets it, Uzama, really earned it because, really as they work down the field. All right, first of all, if you look at Mixon, it looks like a counter. But the blocking, there's no pulling whatsoever. But even the blocking, it doesn't, look like they're zoning the other way around and it's a cutback. There's real firm, like down, what appear to be down double teams, not really like zone combo blocks from the offensive line. But we do see some good blocks. And we see Fred Johnson, who started at left tackle, he does a great job working up to the second level. All right, and getting on there into the linebacker. So good block there. John Miller, I don't know, maybe he was supposed to pull. It was supposed to be some kind of counter. He's the right guard, and he kind of hits the defensive lineman, and then he kind of looks lost. He almost looks like he's supposed to be coming around peeling for pursuit or something. But I don't know. He's lost on that. Maybe he was supposed to be pulling around and leading up. But it doesn't matter because they get it blocked up. They get good blocks from Boyd coming in a linebacker. We get Erickson coming down. Now the guy over Erickson, gets some penetration, and Mixon has to bounce it out. But great little bounce by Mixon, and then he gets it right back upfield. So excellent job by Mixon. Bounce, get it back upfield, cut in tight. To cause a missed tackle by the corner who's coming up and run support. The safety is pursuing him. He breaks that tackle as well. Like guy tries to dive for his feet. That ain't going to work. He hops right over it. Takes a little bit of a hit and hops right over it. So overall, really good run here by Mixon. Some pretty good blocking up front, particularly from Fred Johnson. And then we see he does a great job finishing the run. And who else finishes the run? That same Fred Johnson and CJ Uzama coming down the field. These are great effort plays on the part of those guys. First of all, Johnson did a great job getting up to the linebacker in the first place, but then showing that effort coming down the field, and that's not just coach jargon. That's not just coach speak. Talking about effort to talk about effort. I mean, this is big. If Mixon decides to cut this back, those guys could be the guys. That spring this thing that turn it into a touchdown if he does decide to do that. The other thing that can happen is what if he fumbles? What if somebody knocks the ball out? Maybe he was almost there to jump on it or something. So, these things are really important when we talk about those things from an effort standpoint. I always say good things happen when you run to the ball. It's true for offense. It's true for defense. You got to be running to the ball all the time. So a little bit later in the first quarter, we're going to see another nice run out of Mixon. This one is going to be for 21 yards. So as we look here now, this is not a counter. Okay, this is not a counter play, right? This is the toss play, but he's going to cut it back. So he's gotten real good at cutting those tosses back, and he takes it way back around. So really, what's the point of running toss? The point of running toss is getting to the edge or getting everybody else to the edge so you can cut it back. And he cuts that thing way back. I mean, literally, he cuts so far back that he leaves 10 defensive players on the other side of him. So good run, real good vision by him, and real quick and fast to get back going again. He heads straight up field, then off the cut, then bounces it, out wide again, and gets himself going upfield again, not going east-west any longer than he has to, so he can pick up those additional yards. So nice cutback by him as well. Now this is a little bit different. They toss the ball out there, but I think what we've known them to do in terms of the toss play, we've seen them pulling a bunch of guys out. This is more of like a stretch kind of concept almost, that they're not pulling, they're zone blocking, but they're really reaching on those zone blocks. And Cleveland reaches too. He takes advantage of that as those guys are all coming down the line. He cuts way back, all right, beats that backside defensive end with athleticism, breaks the first tackle, really knocks that guy to the ground. So, Mixon's been really on breaking tackles, being very physical lately. And it has been huge for the Bengals offense, and it's going to be huge moving into next year. So later in the first quarter, we are going to get a Mixon touchdown run. All right, so it's going to be actually third down. So 3rd and 3, and they're giving him the ball. Now, might seem a little bit conservative, but he does an excellent job with it. And this is a zone play out of the shotgun, which we have seen them do in short yardage before. And there's been some complaints about that sort of thing from time to time. But really, it's an efficient play. It's a play where you usually can gain at least a couple yards off of the zone out of shotgun, particularly the zone read. I don't believe he's actually reading anything here, though. So it is a give. They give it to him on the zone. Now, he is going to be reading the defensive tackles. So first, reading the 3 technique. Initially, the 3 technique to the defense's left. So the right guard is Miller, and initially he's keeping him outside, keeping him in that B gap. All right. So Mixon wants to cut that thing back, get north-south. All right. And then the 2 technique on the backside guard, all right, who is Michael Jordan. All right. So Michael Jordan actually gets that thing reached. So he's going to cut real tight right between those guys. All right, as the center Trey Hopkins works up to the Mike linebacker. All right, so he cuts right off of Jordan's butt, gets tight up the field. All right, Hopkins block on the linebacker. Mack Wilson is dispatches with Hopkins, and is able to get in there. But Mixon plows right over him. Right, he goes right for him, and he bulldozes his way into the end zone with Wilson really there trying to square him up. But a lot of Browns right there in the area, and that's a really good job. Again, being physical, getting that score, 3rd and 3. That's a situation he's got to get in the end zone. Don't want to have to force him to kick a ridiculously short field goal there. So excellent job there by Joe Mixon. All right. So then we're going to go into the second quarter. We're going to see another long run in the second quarter. And again, we're seeing Mixon really cutting back like crazy, and a big part of that is that toss play and him, being able to bounce out, and then he can cut it back. The defense is being aggressive, and they're over pursuing. So here, all right, Mixon starts off on the zone, all right, looks to cut it back. Now, there's an unblocked player coming down, all right, from the defensive backfield, and the Bengals try to crack on the safety here with Erickson, all right. Erickson doesn't really get there in time, all right, and he kind of he looks like he quit on it and like he gave up on it, but honestly, he's doing the smart thing here because if he tries to block him, he's going to block him in the back, and it's going to be a penalty and call back. So not good because he didn't make the block, but. Don't think he's quitting on the play or anything like that here. He's doing what's smart by not making that block there. So Mixon cuts it back. That guy comes in unblocked, and he bounces out outside of it. That guy's diving for his feet. He makes him miss. He does a little juke. I believe this is Denzel Ward out here. He gives him a little bit of a shake and is able to get to the outside. And then he picks up 17 yards on that play. So another excellent run, all right, forcing missed tackle and then getting back in there to the outside for Joe Mixon, who obviously had a fantastic day. All right, so the next big one actually comes in the fourth quarter for Mixon. All right, so early in the fourth quarter, we're going to see Mixon's second touchdown. And again, it came on a shorter play. So he didn't really break any long touchdowns on this. This was a second and 2 from the 2-yard line. Again, they're in the shotgun, 2 tight ends, and it's his own play. All right. And whereas the first one, he really kind of banged it up the hole, right? He kept it inside, reading the play side defensive tackle on the first one. He cut to the inside, but then he stayed right there. He didn't cut all the way back because the guard had reached the 2-tech. Here, we're not going to get that, all right? So we're going to see Jordan engages, all right, on the 2-tech, all right, and Hopkins looking to get up to the second level from the center position. And now we've got a 2-eye here that Miller is just going to wash out. So Mixon keeps bending back, all right? Keeps bending back. Now Hart is looking to work up to the backer, all right? That defensive end's unblocked here, all right? Who's blocking him? Dalton's blocking him, all right? This one is a read, all right? So right away, he should just keep going outside of Hart here, right? Because that's where the run is. That's the leverage that Hart has on it. But he's got to really stay tight, right? You can't just keep bouncing forever on the zone read. When you got to realize, hey, that guy is unblocked. All right, so you can't cut it way back on the zone read. You got to realize that guy's unblocked. So look at how tight he comes to Hart. He just comes real tight off him. Brushing right by him and into the end zone, and he's getting hit and he's getting knocked down. But guess what? He's getting knocked down in the end zone. So another excellent run there. And again, you see that with a lot of different running backs. And I've noticed this year that there are running backs that don't seem to get that. Like they're not being coached. They're not being taught that, hey, there's an unblocked guy there, so you can't cut back a ridiculous amount. And they get tackled on that stuff. But Mixon makes a very good very good run for Mixon on that one. All right, so then we're going to go take a look at one more. Again, this is all long runs and TDs here. So later in the fourth quarter, I believe this is actually the last time Mixon even touches the ball. As things kind of shifted at the end of the game. Cleveland possessed the ball for a little while here at the end, but taking a look at this one, all right, we're going to see him. We've seen him bounce it. We've seen him, bend it back, and really this one he's gonna bang it. He's gonna hit the middle, and I mean, really, bang. When I say bounce, bend, bang, bang. You bounce it out to the play side outside the original gap. You bend it back away from the play side, away from the original gap. And banging it is just kind of banging in the hole, and that's kind of a fitting term for how Mixon runs on this play, really. So we've actually got a one technique to the play side. So Hopkins is blocking on the one technique. All right. So it is actually cutting back off of Hopkins. All right. It cuts back off of Hopkins. All right. Miller has got a three technique. So Miller and Hart are working the double team down there. Mac Wilson looks to fill on the inside. Initially, that allows Hart to get upside inside of him. All right. Now, he doesn't keep it going all the way out wide. All right. Again, there's unblocked players over there. Okay. There's guys coming in. So even though, the initial read is really telling him that he is going to keep bending it back. All right. He sees, I believe it's a linebacker. No, actually, as a safety, he sees the safety show, right? He knows he can't do it anymore. And he takes that little gap in between these guys. Hart maintains his block. And, even though it's against his leverage, he cuts into into where the defender is, Hart stays on it. And Mixon is able to shake off, what really is an arm tackle at that point. So great job by Mixon. Again, like I said, this is technically a bend, but then he banks it right up in the hole when he needs to, breaks one tackle there. All right. And, down the field for a big gain, 28 yards. So Mixon really coming on at the end of the season here, looking like the guy that I think that we all know he can be, and that he showed that he could be last season. So some big time runs out of Mixon. And definitely some good things out of Mixon, the run game, the offensive line in general in this game that are promising, really for the future, and can be some things to make us feel good, going into next year. So, 26 carries, 162 yards, 2 touchdowns for Mixon. Next year, as I said, we're probably going to have 2 Joes in the backfield, and that's going to open up even more opportunities. That's going to be a really good, really good setup moving forward, and exciting times in Cincinnati. So hopefully, we'll be here the whole time talking free agency, talking draft. Hopefully, we can get some more pieces to put around that. But good running this weekend out of Mixon. All right, so once again, thank you for joining me. We'll be here. The season's over for the Bengals, and that's not good. But we're going to be here, and we're looking forward to the future. Like I said, definitely some promising things from the performance of Fred Johnson. For one thing, which I wrote about this week on Cincy Jungle. Definitely check that out. It's a film room article on Fred Johnson, who's played a significant role over the last 2 weeks at the left tackle position. Joe Mixon running like crazy, looking real good there. The defense really stepped up, in particular the defensive line. Carlos Dunlap, after a slow start, has been going crazy. In the last half of the season, he was the AFC Defensive Player of the Month for December. So some good and some promising things, and hopefully we'll see some good and promising things in the next couple of weeks here moving forward, even before we get into free agency. And we'll be here to talk about it. Thanks.